was good. We had a pretty good practice. I thought there was good energy for practice number 15, and the sun came out, so it was close to 90, so it was a good day for us from getting acclimated to the heat standpoint. But I thought we pushed through it, and we got a lot better today as a football team, and was pleased with the practice.
Take your usual philosophy, I suppose, when the TV cameras are rolling, right?
We kept it pretty simple, and then the cadence and the snap count is always something that you want to kind of keep a cover on, if you will. So we went out there early in practice, and we were disjointed a little bit, trying to use a different snap count. Then we got back to something really simple, and that kind of helped us. But our team takeoff wasn't as crisp as we would have liked it to have been early in practice as a result of it. But we kept it simple, kept it vanilla, obviously.
You got a pretty good battle going for the one safety spot between Fichter and Charlot about who's going to play when and out there for you?
There's a lot of guys in the secondary that are good players that are competing, for a spot on the roster, obviously. And right now, Fichter has played in practice really well throughout the course of camp, so he is certainly competing to be a number one, whether it be with Max or whoever. It would depend upon which group of guys we had out there on the field. But there's a lot of competition in the back half. Obviously, we feel really good about the guys that have played a lot with Ricardo and Josh, and like what we see from Frankie and also from Antoine Lewis. So we feel really good about what we have in the secondary. But there is some real competition, and Landon Fichtner is certainly pushing the guys.
With Smith and Davis on the offensive line at those two guard spots, just what are you seeing out of those two right now?
Well, right now, Peters Dry's at left guard, and then Cody Davis can play any one of the guard spots and center as well. And so he's certainly in our top 5 or 6 offensive linemen, but he's really important to us because he's a utility tool to use anywhere on the inside, and he's very comfortable with it. He's very comfortable with the offense, and he's moving well and looks very confident and sure out there. So I like what I'm seeing from Cody Davis. Obviously, Devin Smith brings some things to the table at 6'7" or 6'6.5", 6'7", and 335, and a good motor and a good player. And so he's certainly competing to be a number one. So there is some competition. I would anticipate seeing both of those guys in the game, and Devin mostly at right guard, and the possibility of Cody's switching around at all 3 inside spots.
Is Kugler getting back in the mix now after his little injury?
He's done well. He's only been back for 2 days, and he had a strained back or some type of midsection injury, a strained thorax, or whatever you want to call it, But he was the ginger there for a little bit, and he got right back in the mix and got after it. He's a good football player and holds up well. He's still a little rusty from not practicing, but he's a welcome addition back, and certainly will work his way back into the mix and compete, for playing time. I thought he did great in the spring, and anticipate him picking it back up and moving on with it.
You back off Peters at times just because he's coming off the back injury last season?
We try to. We're trying to be smart. He was clear to go in the spring, but we were cautious and kept him out of the spring practices, and he's done very well all camp long. He's practiced hard and fast and physical. We pull him out sometimes just to make sure he doesn't get too much. We held him out all day today. He had a little bit of soreness. We practiced hard, and he's had a lot of reps here the last 3 or 4 years, so we do cut back on him some. Anybody that's injured, and couldn't go through spring practice, or anybody that's coming off of some type of surgery, they maybe go, but we're trying to limit their reps in some ways. The same with Ryan Isaacs, the same with Brandon Cottom. Peters Dry did not get surgery, but he was out in the spring, so we're trying to limit his reps to keep him fresh and healthy.
If you played tomorrow, would you know who your kicking specialist would be, which guy you would put where, and are there still some competition?
I'm not real.
Especially place kicker and kickoff.
Well, the place kicker right now is where the most competition is at. I like Cody Webster as our punter. He was our punter all of last year. Thomas Meadows, the freshman punter, is outstanding. He is very polished and has a great future in front of him, and he will compete and is competing for a position as a punter on our football team. But Cody's ahead, and then Thomas is right behind him and doing very well. Right now, if we had to play tomorrow, Thomas Meadows would kick off for us. He's done a fantastic job. We really liked him when we had him in our camp a year ago. He did excellent with his kicking the ball off in camp, and that's really where we have a big potentially could have a void at this season. And like the fact that he's doing a great job with it. I don't think we've dropped off any from a kickoff standpoint from where we were at last year, and that's really good considering we had a veteran, outstanding kicker, with Carson Wiggs. So I like what I'm seeing from Thomas Meadows as our kickoff man, and then there's some heated competition between Sam McCarthy and the freshman Paul Griggs to see who's going to be the extra point field goal kicker. So we're having competition every day, and right now I would give Sam the edge a little bit.
Would you use those guys, like one would do PATs or their field goals, or do you want the same guy doing PATs and field goals?
It depends how they do in practice. I don't have any problem sharing duties, obviously. If we'll play 3 quarterbacks, we'll sure use 2 field goal kickers. Okay, that's easy there now. Okay, that's an easy decision.
It's a similar question, I guess, but has Cody progressed to the point where he can sky kick, and you used Carson a lot last year in some of those roles, but has he progressed to the point where he could do the whole thing, or would you potentially use the 2 guys to do 2 different things?
Well, we anticipate going into the season with Cody Webster handling all of the punting duties. And again, he could have managed them all last year, but some of those kicks, we were more comfortable with Carson. He was an excellent specialist, and he had a real knack for the Australian punt and some of the sky kicks that we use. So he's gone, and I anticipate Cody Webster handling all the punting duties. That may change between now and game time. Again, Thomas Meadows is an outstanding specialist. He's great with his feet, So if there's some things that he can do for our football team that helps us win, and if it's some type of specific kicking duties, then we'll do that. But we have some time between now and the opening game to make those decisions.
Any plans for this week? Another kind of serious type of scrimmage before you start school up next week?
Yeah, we've got some serious type of practices left. Tomorrow's a 2-a-day, so that'll certainly get their attention. So, and again, I thought we had good energy today for practice number 15, and that was important that we went out and practiced well today and finished strong. But there's just a little bit of camp left. We have 2 practices on Thursday, and then we'll cut back some on Friday, and then we'll go Saturday, and then we'll go Sunday morning and try to get practice wrapped up early in the day so they can be on campus with the other students right before school starts. So still a lot of work to do, but yes, we will get after it, and we do have a little bit more of live scrimmaging to do.